An Australian electricity supplier says it's going to pay people to charge their EVs. It's going to pay you to charge your electric car. Now, imagine if you could do that with your gasoline or petrol, diesel car. Imagine if you could get free fuel, right, for nothing. That's essentially what's going to happen. This is just the start. This will happen more and more frequently over the next couple of years because there is simply too much electricity in many grids around the world during the middle of the day. So more and more companies are going to start doing this. You're going to see this happen more frequently. But in addition to that, really what we're going to see is vehicle to grid becoming a huge thing. It's going to revolutionize the world in a way that I don't think anyone really fully understands yet. The changes are going to be enormous. Imagine when everyone has an electric car with vehicle to grid. I mean, literally power plants will shut down within a very short period of time. But this is the beginning of this, well, the world's incredible future. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. Now, personally, I just charged my EV today for $0. $0, yeah, I charged it completely. The battery was at, I believe, about 15%. It's now sitting at 99%. Yeah, I charged to 100%. Nothing wrong with that, guys. Even with non-LFP, the battery is actually an NMC battery. No problem. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Even if you think it won't be, because someone told you down the road that it won't be. Yeah, charge it to 100% every now and again. Every week, even, I think it's not a big deal. Amber will pay customers to charge their EVs as it prepares for vehicle to grid. So, even if you don't have your solar system to charge your EV for free, like I do, I know a lot of people don't, but if you don't already have solar and you can put it on your roof, use the company I used. I'll put a link to them in the description. Australian technology and electricity company Amber, who I'm about to switch to, by the way, is launching a new product that could see EV owners getting paid for charging their car at home and in the future paid for sending power back to the grid. Now, they already do this. You already get paid for sending power back to the grid. If you use Amber, you pay like a monthly subscription fee, which is a pretty small subscription fee, and then you can essentially trade electricity as a literal electricity supplier. Like you can trade it at commercial prices, as in the actual industry price. So a lot of people are doing this right now. People in particular who have their own batteries and have their own solar or just their own batteries as well, they are using Amber in order to save a significant amount of money. So paying the wholesale cost for electricity is probably the future of electricity. And I think that's going to happen in many countries around the world. But here, Amber has made a bit of news recently. The Driven says that because of its innovative products based around wholesale prices, in other words, you can pay electricity prices that are wholesale prices and then sell your electricity into the grid at wholesale prices as well, that this has been revolutionary for households. Amber is launching a new product. It's called Amber for EVs, as a first step towards exploiting EVs as true batteries on wheels, as vehicle to grid technology and two-way charging is rolled out across the country. So vehicle to grid technology, that has been approved here in Australia. A lot of people think that once we have bidirectional chargers, DC bidirectional chargers, you'll be able to use your existing electric car, even if it doesn't technically have vehicle to grid. A lot of them have the actual hardware, and those that don't will actually be able to function anyway using these DC to DC chargers, meaning that even all the existing EVs on the road will be turned into, batteries for your house. Don't get me wrong, you're not going to be using it just for your house. I know you're going to drive it on occasion as well, but it'll be amazing. This is going to be revolutionary. CEO Chris Thompson says the initial EV product, which will focus on Tesla EVs before being rolled out for other electric models, will enable households to time their charging when wholesale prices are low or even negative. That means you can charge for free. I mean, if the wholesale price is negative, then you'd be getting paid for charging. And the wholesale price does go negative quite a lot. In fact, it's becoming more common now that there's so much renewable energy in the grid, particularly during certain hours of the day when there's enormous amounts of sun, enormous amounts of electricity being generated by solar panels. That's when electricity prices go negative, and then you can charge and get paid to do so. The idea is to help customers get as much free charging as possible. We're even offering EV owners to get paid to charge, said Thompson to The Driven. Now, this to me is insane. But of course, the big focus here is on vehicle to grid. And there's so many people asking me, should I buy this car? Will it have vehicle to grid? And the answer is, well, technically, it's a complicated question because the Nissan Leaf and a Mitsubishi hybrid, a plug-in hybrid, they have vehicle to grid, but they're the only vehicles here in Australia and in most places that have vehicle to grid. Now, obviously, the Tesla Cybertruck has it, the Ford F-150 Lightning does as well, the Chevy Silverado. But yeah, in most places, there's not many vehicles that have vehicle to grid. That said, new technology will enable that to change. With a new company here in Australia who are actually beginning manufacture of DC to DC vehicle to grid charging, that would potentially enable EVs that just have vehicle to load to actually work, or also potentially just general EVs that have the ability to do this, but technically it's unlocked via a software change. For example, the Tesla Model Y, the BYD 803, Tesla Model 3, they have the ability to do vehicle to grid. It just needs to be kind of a change initiated through some software in those cars to make it work. Now, the future is quite clear, says Thompson. Every EV will be able to do bi-directional charging. With potential earnings of $2,000 a year, there is $20,000 of value in a car over its 10-year lifespan. Imagine buying a petrol-powered car and missing out on that $20,000 saving over the course of 10 years. I really don't understand why people would think that, in 5 years' time, when most EVs have vehicle to grid or V2X or whatever you want to call it doesn't matter, the same thing. I really don't understand why people think the majority of owners wouldn't go, well, $20,000 saving. Okay, so if I pay $50,000 for a car, I'm going to save $20,000 over 10 years, then that means the car cost me $30,000 plus all the other savings I get from being able to charge the battery at very, very low prices, not have to pay for brake pads, regen braking, servicing is very, very cheap. There's so many benefits to an electric car. So really, if you think about it, put all that together, then add to the fact that people are going to be able to save huge amounts of money by storing all their solar energy, using that energy at night time, or simply taking energy from the grid when it's cheap and then using it when energy in the grid is more expensive. That to me is a game changer. Amber's products are different to those offered by bigger retailers who favor a virtual power plant for customers, but that requires the retailers retaining some control over those assets, be they rooftop solar, home batteries, or EVs. And the point with Amber is that you don't have to give retailers control over your assets. Here's what they said. My big dream is that homeowners with rooftop solar and vehicle to grid will become far and away the largest generation source on the electricity grid. It will make residential markets a net receiver of revenues. It will be the biggest thing for our business in 5 years' time. So, as you can see, an electricity retailer is predicting that the largest source of electricity in Australia, and probably many other countries as well, will be electric cars and solar roofs on people's homes. That's going to be the largest source of electricity. Now, the New South Wales government obviously is incentivizing people getting batteries in order to become electricity retailers themselves. In addition, the Australian government now obviously has approved vehicle to grid because that's what they want to happen as well. Amber says it's Amber for EV product as it currently stands before the rollout of vehicle to grid on a wide scale allows customers to prioritize charging their EVs before exporting solar power to the grid or charging their EV from the grid. Now, I should point out that you can do that with a lot of chargers as well, a lot of home chargers. If you get a charger installed at your house, many of them have the ability to charge just using solar. They can have this charge only on solar. So that's a feature that you don't necessarily need to have Amber for, but there are other options to do that. Now, Amber said this, by aligning EV charging with renewable energy peaks, Amber for EV's automation is designed to ensure households' EV adoption supports the transition to a 100% renewable energy future. This is in contrast to charging at peak times or on traditional charging models that incentivize overnight charging, which is mostly powered by fossil fuels. We're at a point where there's more renewable energy in the grid than ever before. And a lot of that's being wasted, curtailed, essentially destroyed. So much so that it's going to waste, he said. Yet households are still seeing their energy bills rise. Amber for EVs ensures drivers can take full advantage of these renewable peaks by using this excess energy to charge their cars, saving on bills and cutting emissions.